The Thargoid invasion fleet started arriving in November 3308 as a response to Salvation's firing of the Proteus Wave in August that year. It was in 3309 that humanity learned to confront the alien invaders and turn the war around.
With Azimuth in disgrace following August 3308's Proteus Wave disaster in HIP 22460, it wasn't long before the galactic authorities started thinking about allowing Aegis to reform. Following Professor Alba Tesro's call for Aegis to be given another chance, Princess Aisling Duval was one of the first politicians to give support to the idea. The Imperial Emperor was reportedly not at all happy with this call for an exception to the Empire's isolationist approach, but after discussions she granted the Princess permission to assist in setting up the new Aegis. With the pardoned Admiral Aidan Tanner having recently left the Federal Navy, and with President Hudson and Prime Minister Mann also on board, Aegis was operational by mid-February. At the same time, Azimuth was doing what it could to re-establish a level of credibility. The rivalry between Aegis and Azimuth resulted in a number of new weapons and utilities being developed.
Azimuth was first to release, even before Aegis had reformed. Its weapon stabiliser allowed more AX weapons to be added to a loadout. Next, Professor Palin released an enhanced Xenoscanner with a much more practical 2km scan range. Aegis's first offering this year was the Caustic Sync Launcher, essential to penetrating the Thargoid maelstroms, but also very handy in all AX situations. Despite the harsh unlock requirements, these modules have become ubiquitous. It quickly followed up with the Pulse Neutralizer. The same technology used to counteract the Thargoid shutdown field was reworked to partially neutralise the effect of the massive pulse that drove back any ships that tried to approach the heart of the maelstroms. With these two modules, it was possible to enter the calm heart of the maelstroms, where the Thargoid Titan hive ships, the command centres of the invasion, are tended by numerous smaller Thargoid ships. And with the addition of Aegis's confusingly named Pulse Wave Xenoscanner, it became possible to locate and retrieve research samples from the Titan hive ships. Xiojin A, the former test subject D2, who can feel the Thargoid's thoughts, warned that the Thargoids know what is happening, and that we should exercise extreme caution near the Titans. In July, Azimuth held a convention for prospective partners, which received limited support. A tangible result of this convention was the release of the overcharged, gimbaled AX multi-cannon with autoloader. Like all recent Azimuth developments, this was an incremental improvement on an existing design, rather than anything groundbreaking.
The Thargoids also introduced new weapons into the fight in the form of hunters. These medium-sized ships currently have two known forms, the glaive and the scythe. The glaive's speciality is containment, preventing human ships from going about their business. With amazing acceleration and the ability to damage and disable internal modules, the glaive is by far the most disruptive of all Thargoid ships. The scythe became known about through the high-profile loss of the Dedicant megaship. Members of the Far God cult, long reviled and disenfranchised in the Federation, were in June put aboard the Dedicant, a megaship built by the cult but confiscated by the Federation, to be deported. This turned out to be a mistake. The cult members somehow managed to hijack the ship and jumped off to a system full of Thargoids to achieve transcendence. They got something rather different. Logs recovered from the wreck revealed that the entire complement of crew, guards and Far God cult members were sucked out into space and captured by a vast fleet of scythe hunters whose sole purpose is to capture humans and take them for storage in the 8 Thargoid Titans. Since the invasion started, but far more thoroughly now, tens of thousands of humans have been abducted by the Scythes.
Why did the Thargoids want to take so many human captives? In a leaked recording, Seojin A explained to Aegis that she had detected a modulation in the hive mind. The Thargoids were no longer attempting to gain ground. They were now concentrating on gathering as many humans as possible and storing them in pods aboard the Titans. The reason for this was, and still remains, obscure. But Seo said they were vital for the next phase of the Thargoid invasion. Could this mean they are to fight as a slave army? Or that they are to spread some sort of contagion? Aegis's first priority was to rescue as many humans from the Titans as possible. All the work it had been doing to gain access to the Titans finally had a clear purpose. It developed a modification to the Pulse Wave Xenoscanner to identify where human captives were being held inside the Thargoid Titans. And at the beginning of October, it released a heavily modified subsurface displacement missile, renamed the Subsurface Extraction Missile, which together enabled the start of a long and arduous task to rescue the captives and bring them back to the rescue ships for recuperation and observation. In October, the first captives were revived and appeared to be in good health. They were, however, kept in strict quarantine until the very end of December, when Prime Minister Mahan authorised the release into society of Alliance citizens who had been rescued. At the time of writing, there has been no report of any untoward consequence of this move.
In parallel to all the work on the Maelstroms and their prisoners, the war against the Thargoids was going well. Once it had been established that the best way to drive the Thargoids back from a system was to prevent them from invading in the first place, the Thargoids dropped back from holding nearly 1,200 systems in May to around 300 by the end of the year. Logistics also seems to have been a problem for the Thargoids. In September they started growing strange spiky organic machines on 45 planets in systems they controlled. At the very end of October these organic machines matured as spire sites, which continued to be used by the Orthrus interceptors to collect whatever compounds the Titans need to continue operating. These sites are patrolled by hovering surface vehicles. These are small revenants, which are also found patrolling captured human settlements, and banshees, which are far larger and which can fire volleys of sticky bombs as well as attacking ships with disruption bombs, which briefly take the ship's systems offline. Once again, humans are gaining the upper hand, gradually shutting these sites down. Maelstrom Tyrannus is isolated with no client systems and no spire sites to resupply it. Additionally, Professor Palin has devised a scheme for contaminating the material that's being harvested from the remaining spire sites, in the hope that the Titans will be weakened.
It is unclear what will happen next in the war. The Thargoids are being pushed back, but the Titan systems remain firmly in the hands of the Thargoids, with no indication that any of them, not even Tyrannus, have been weakened. We need a way of driving the Titans out, if the invasion is ever to be completely repelled. A big unknown is the reason the Thargoids are holding all those captives. Seo says they are vital to the Thargoid war effort, but so far the Thargoids don't seem to have done anything with them, and thousands of them have been safely recovered. Whatever it is, has the Thargoids' next move been prevented by our swift action in rescuing the captives? Or will Prime Minister Mahan find out that releasing the recovered captives wasn't such a good idea after all? An end to the Thargoid invasion seems tantalisingly close, but without a clear understanding of what the Thargoids are trying to achieve, it's hard to be sure what victory looks like.